Well, hello, YouTubers and Amazonians. Anyways, I'm going to give my review of the Wolverine men's drill bit boots. I'm also going to give you a little bit of background and let you know why I decided to purchase these boots, and let you know both the good and the bad that I have found with these, in my experience with these boots. Now, I work in the oil field in North Dakota. If you've ever been in this area, you know the weather goes from extremes. It goes from very hot to very cold. It can be very wet. So all of the seasons are represented here. And so I need a boot that's comfortable. I need a boot that's watertight. I need a boot that's warm. I wear my boots all day. As a truck driver, my shift by federal law cannot exceed 14 hours. And because I'm in the oil field, I do work that many hours. So because I'm working that long, of course my boots are on during that period, plus before and after. So I wear my boots pretty much all day unless I'm sleeping. Now, in the past, I've tried a couple of different options. Number one, Walmart has a steel-toed boot that qualifies to be used in my environment. And they're quite cheap, but I think they're about $40. On the other hand, there are other boots that are supposed to be better quality, should last longer, and of course because of that they're much more expensive. To give you an example of what I've tried in the past, this is one of the boots I've tried, and you can see it's got regular laces, and then here it has the I don't know what they call them, but basically it's so that you can lace them on and off quickly. The problem with that type of boot, of course, is one, you have to tie it. Sometimes if you don't, they come untied just like any shoe. The other thing is, because of those things at the top, eventually the laces themselves wear out and they break. And I don't know about you, but I always have a problem of finding the right length string to replace the ones that are broken. They're either too short or they're too long. I've had a bad experience with that. So I wanted something that I could take. I also wanted something I could take on and off quickly. So I changed to this type of boot. Does not require laces, of course. It comes on and off pretty easy. Just slips on and off. And both of those boots, I had pretty good experiences, except for the things I pointed out on the lacing. And then the other thing with a slip-on boot is eventually the lining inside of here, you can't see in there, I guess, but the lining itself begins to move over time and makes it more and more difficult to get on and off. And in fact, eventually I had to purchase a boot shoe horn to be able to get them on and off, because my foot actually got stuck in the boot, because when I would try to pull it out, the lining itself would come out as well and wrap around my foot, and then I couldn't get my foot out. So I wanted something that would incorporate the good and the bad with both of these boots. Or excuse me, the good parts of both of these boots. And I learned about the Red Wing BOA laces. So I went and looked at them, and they're quite expensive. The boots, for example, they have the most expensive one that I've seen. Not only does it have a steel toe, but it has a steel part that goes across the top of your foot. And in fact, I think that's ceramic, not steel toe. So, and that ceramic is supposed to be tougher and better for you, less chance of damaging your foot, or injuring your foot if something were to fall. Anyways, those are almost $400. I think it was $385 at the local store here in town. They have the lesser expensive one. It's just a regular steel toe, and I think that was $350 or somewhere around there. You'll have to look online to verify those prices, but it was those prices were pretty close to what they were. Well, I didn't want to spend that kind of money. Somebody told me about Wolverine making a similar boot, so that's what I ended up looking into, and I found them on Amazon for $163, I think is what they were. Now, I wear a size 12 shoe and boot. I'm in my 50s. I've worn that size for all of my adult life. And I also wear a wide whenever I buy shoes or boots. Anyway, when I was reading the reviews on the Wolverine boots, I saw that at least one person commented that they were kind of tight. They felt a little bit smaller than his regular boots. So when I looked into the Wolverine, I saw they had a size 12, a size 12 wide, and a size 12 extra wide. So I figured, well, so if they're going to be a little snug, I better buy the extra wide to make sure that I find the size is going to fit me well. So I bought the boots. They came. They looked nice. I put them on, and I had the same problem. Even though they're extra wide, I could still barely get my foot into the boot. But I was able to get them on, and I figured after a while they would eventually stretch out. I've had the boots now for, I think it's about 2 weeks, and I'm going to show you the boots. You can see that I've been using the boots. They're quite dirty. I've worn them out in the field. The environment here can be very muddy and very wet. In fact, within the first 3 days, I was literally standing in ankle-deep water, and my feet, when I was finished working that day, were almost dry. They did an exceptional job of keeping the water out. I literally was ankle-deep in water and only got wet up near the top of my ankle. The rest of my feet were completely dry. So I was very satisfied with that. What I was not satisfied with was, like I said, the fact that it was, even with the extra wide, it was still kind of tight. And the second thing is, this mechanism is supposed to be attached here. It broke the very first day. Now, I don't know if that would have happened with the Red Wing. As far as I know, they're the same mechanism, but I don't know for sure. The way it's supposed to work is, once your foot is in here, you take this knob, and you saw how I popped it in, and you twist it. It tightens up the boot. Then when you're ready to take the boot off, you take this button and you pull it out. And then the boot actually opens this way. You stretch it open, pull your foot out. I've never been able to get that one, like you saw, it was broken, so it doesn't even, even trying to pop it out, I can't get, it's very difficult when it's in place to get it to do that. You see, it's actually separated from the boot now. That's the only way I can unlock it properly, because the way it goes, it's what I consider a poor design, the way they've done this. It sits, this right here, probably can't see that, maybe you can, sits in there, and then there's a screw right here that goes through that little hole. And it's a poor design, and here, or I believe it's a poor design. Here's what I believe. The head is quite small, so all the stress of pulling that button out is centered in a very small area. What they should have done, in my opinion, is either, one, you'd use a longer screw, and then you have a washer behind it so it spreads out the stress, or the head itself is manufactured with a very large head for the same reason. It spreads out the stress. But instead, they use this tiny, tiny head, and you can see it pulled right through. Again, I don't know about Red Wing, whether they do the same thing or not, so maybe the extra money would be worth it. A third option would be to make this all out of metal, this whole mechanism here out of metal. Because metal is going to be very difficult for you to pull the screw through. But because it's made out of plastic, this is the end result. The other problem I have with the boot is, especially on this right boot, maybe you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but the top here is kind of collapsed. And the reason it's collapsed is because every time I try to stick my foot in the boot, the lining comes down. Now I did purchase, like I mentioned earlier, a boot shoehorn, but still that has not prevented the lining of this boot from releasing from the boot itself and shoving down as I try to put my foot in. And I've tried all different ways of trying to get my foot in here. Again, like I said, I think part of it is the fact that the boots, even though it's supposed to be extra wide, are just a little too snug. And they did not stretch like I thought they would. And I believe that's what caused this to happen. So if you are going to order these boots, you might want to order the next size up to make sure that your foot can get in and out easily. Other than that, these are great boots. I haven't had any problems, like I said, with my feet getting wet, except what I've already mentioned. They're nice, even though they're not regular laces. You can get these really nice and tight when you have to go through those puddles. And I was literally standing in the puddle. I didn't have a choice. So it wasn't just walking through. The soles themselves stayed pretty watertight. Now the boots, I had the same problem with this pull-on boot. In the beginning, this right here chafes the insides of my legs. I tried pulling my socks up, but eventually the socks walk down and the boot starts chafing. But after a while, I guess just from wear, it pushes out a little bit and it no longer does that. I've got very large calves, so that may not be true for everybody. Keep that in mind. I believe the Red Wing boots come with an extra set of these laces, so if they break, you can replace them. Of course, I don't think it comes with an extra mechanism. Is it worth it to spend the extra money and buy the Red Wing? Only if this mechanism is made more professional or more what's the word I'm trying to think of? More hardy, less likely to break. Other than that, this is probably going to be a good boot for most people, as long as if you're very careful not to break these. And, like I said, it happened to me on my first day. Whether I don't abuse my boots. I don't know how you could abuse it there. Anyways, you pull it, open it, and push it in to lock it in, and you twist it to tighten the boot. There isn't much else you can do. They were comfortable on my feet. I didn't have any problems with them feeling uncomfortable, except for the things I mentioned where it chafed my leg. But again, after a few days, that did stretch out some, and I no longer have that problem. So would I recommend you buy these boots? It's up to you. Just know that, number one, you probably want to get a larger size. And number two, you're going to be very careful with these. Other than that, it's a great savings over the Red Wing boot. It's nice and quick to lace these and unlace them. If something were to happen, you spilled some chemicals on you, somehow you caught fire, somebody could easily get these boots off with a pull and yank them off your feet. And then so you can get your coveralls off or your uniform off or whatever. You roll around if it's a fire. Of course, that's why if you've ever worked around chemicals, you want to be able to get your boots off quickly. So you want to have this type of lace is probably a really good idea. So I would never tell you not to buy this boot. I just want to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into. Thank you for watching my video. If you've owned these boots and you've experienced any of these same problems, please comment below. I'd like to know if other people are having these problems. If you own the boots and not have these problems, if you've had great experience, want to know that too. So, again, thank you for watching my video, and enjoy your day.